soon. There we go. And just gonna wait till this loads and YouTube is now live. Awesome. Hell yeah, here we go. It's been a while. All right, so let me go to, and just gonna wait till this loads and YouTube is now live. Awesome. Hell yeah, here we go. It's been a while. Okay, there we go. Gotta mute that. Okay. So we got this going. We are live, and let's get it started. I'm gonna go through a couple things here. This is one that I made. This is my reel. Let me get you to be corrupt. And away we go. If these monsters consider you to be corrupt, dirty, and unholy for not practicing their religion, do you think they prefer to be surrounded by more dirty people like us? Or would they rather have us practice their... What's up, Jennifer? We are back. I know it's been forever. I've been trying to wait out this little dry spell that YouTube put us on. So hopefully it's cleared out now. But we'll take a look and see today. We got a White House press briefing. And hopefully I spelled it right. Yes, I did. I did. All right. So I also put out a couple of videos. I'm sure you've seen these, but good to see you. Good to see you. Good to be back. Let's play this again. If these monsters consider you to be corrupt, dirty, and unholy for not practicing their religion, do you think they prefer to be surrounded by more dirty people like us? Or would they rather have us practice their religion so they don't have to live with filth? If they had the power, they would clean up America and make us all practice their religion. Look at the UK. If you're not aware of what's happening in the UK and other parts of Europe, look at it yourself. They currently run the biggest cities in the UK, and now the person in charge of policing and national security is a Muslim as of September of 2025. And as a result, they're putting more people in jail for practicing freedom of speech than any other Western country. They're already in Minnesota, Michigan, and now New York. They don't approve of you and I. To them, we're in the way. They come here and try to turn our country into the countries they would never return to because they're trash. These people don't make sense. They're not smart. They come from places that haven't advanced because they don't have the capacity for growth. It's not their fault. They're like children that don't know any better. And we need to take the role of the parents here and say, sorry, but we're not doing that. We have the recipe for success, and that tyrannical religion isn't it. If these monsters consider you to be corrupt, dirty, and... So there you have it, guys. Welcome to the channel. Louis, what's up, bud? Good to have you too. We are getting started, and I wanted to show you that quick reel there that I just made yesterday. It's one that has gotten a lot of support. Some I got a couple people here. One guy says here, "Who is this dude talking? Isn't he one of these Muslim people?" No, I'm not. No, I'm not, sir. No, I am not. Okay, so let's keep going here. And yes, you'll see, guys. I'm wearing I'm wearing jackets now. I guess the 100K mark on Instagram got me to spice it up a little tiny bit. What's up, Bowtie? Good to have you. Bowtie, did the hats come in? And away we go. Away we go. A lot of time whenever I wear this jacket, guys. Fun fact: everyone tells me, asks me why I'm wearing my grandfather's jacket. I guess it's that brown with the red lines and whatnot. I just like brown. I'm a big fan, huge fan. When I was first starting out of high school and out of college, I went to work selling cars. I saved up my money and every penny I had, and I bought myself a Porsche. It was tough, but I did. And it was brown. It was a chocolate metallic brown 911 turbo. I put everything into that. I miss that car, but this jacket, so I guess what I'm trying to say is I like brown. I like brown. I put out that video about Muslims, and a lot of people understand. So let's keep going. If these monsters consider you to be corrupt, dirty, and unholy for not practicing their religion, do you think they prefer to be surrounded by more dirty people like us? Or would they rather have us practice their religion so they don't have to live with filth? If they had the power, they would clean up America and make us all practice their religion. Look at the UK. If you're not aware of what's happening in the UK and other parts of Europe, look at it yourself. They currently run the biggest cities in the UK, and now the person in charge of policing and national security is a Muslim as of September of 2025. And as a result, they're putting more people in jail for practicing freedom of speech than any other Western country. They're already... Yes, they are. If you guys aren't aware of that, then you should take a look and see what's going on in UK. Not only UK, but also France, also Australia, also Canada, also... Let's just go down the list. I think Amsterdam is a disaster too. So it's happening. Let's put this one more time because we got haters that are curious what the hell's going on. Hello from everybody. Hello to everyone on Instagram. Good to have you guys. Let's go. Let's go. If these monsters consider you to be corrupt, dirty, and unholy for not practicing their religion, do you think they prefer to be surrounded by more dirty people like us? Or would they rather have us practice their religion so they don't have to live with filth? Yeah, think about that. So if they're dressing like that and they have this specific way that works for them, and the people that don't do that are dirty, are not as good as them, do you think they prefer to be surrounded by more people like them? Or do they want to let everyone be how they want and live around people that are less than them? It's obvious. They'd rather have people around them that are like them, right? So that's why you have so many of them wanting to change things to become more like the countries that they came from. And it's not hard to see, guys. It's not like a brand new thing where we're just curious what's going to happen. No. This is happening in Europe. It's happened already in UK. As I said in this clip, and I'm going to hit play again, but as I said in this clip, the person in UK right now running the basically all the policing and all that kind of stuff, national security, that person is now Muslim. Guess what's happening when you speak up in UK about what's happening? You know, with the Muslims and what's happening with the, I'm not going to say the words, but if you look it up, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. They're putting people in jail for using their freedom of speech. It's happening as we speak. And in fact, the numbers are staggering. In UK, they're putting more people in jail for tweeting and commenting and posting on social media than I believe any other Western country. It's not cool, and it's not a way of life. And just take a look. If they had the power, they would clean up America and make us all practice their religion. Look at the UK. If you're not aware of what's happening in the UK and other parts of Europe, look at it yourself. They currently run the biggest cities in the UK, and now the person in charge of policing and national security is a Muslim as of September of 2025. And as a result, they're putting more people in jail for practicing freedom of speech than any other Western country. They're already in Minnesota, Michigan, and now New York. They don't approve of you and I. To them, we're in the way. They come here and try to turn our country into the countries they would never return to because they're trash. You guys don't understand it, but you see it on the screen. They say death to America. In our own country. They come to our country, specifically in that video that I just showed you in that clip. It's Dearborn, Michigan. They're holding a little gathering to say death to America. Very, very stupid. Very stupid. It's retard shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not normal shit. These people are out of their minds. Hello, everyone. We're good. We're back. I think our numbers are back, and the cold spell is over for the little YouTube kind of jail they put me in or whatever. So we're back, guys. Good to be back. And hello to everyone in Instagram. You guys are very, much more lively than before. Azita says hi from Boston. We got someone that says free Iran. Thank you, Sophie. I agree. And we got a couple of people speaking up. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Good morning from Manila. Let's say what I thought this was a White House briefing. Yes, it is. As soon as I kind of go through this clip, I'm going to put on the White House press briefing right now. And it says, F Islam, free Iran. Okay. We agree. We agree. Act now before it's too late. Homeira, thank you. I appreciate it. Very good. Thank you for being our voice. 100%. I'm with you. 100%. Nurse, hello. Good to have you. Bowtie. Dude, if Instagram, if you're wanting to get more lively chat, feel free to jump on YouTube. We got more people on and chatting, and it's typically more lively. Bowtie, hello. You said yes, you got him. Awesome. Glad you got him. Kim, hi, hello. Brad is a hater. You are a Trump hater, and you are a beta male. Where's my button, bro? Where's my how come it's not working?
The Great White Hope. You are a Trump hater, and you are a beta male.
You are a beta male, bro.
Beta.
That's right. Let's hit that button on Jesse Lee Peterson for you.
Beta male.
That's right. Let's keep going, guys. Keep going. All right. So, Free USA, Utah. Yeah, there we go. We got, it's called freedom of speech. Yep. Freedom of speech. That's called, I also have freedom of speech. So, just like they have freedom of speech, I have freedom of speech. Thank you very much. All right. Let's hit play. We'll finish this, and I'm going to get into the press briefing right now. These people don't make sense. They're not smart. They come from places that haven't advanced because they don't have the capacity for growth. It's not their fault. They're like children that don't know any better. And we need to take the role of the parents here and say, sorry, but we're not doing that. We have the recipe for success, and that tyrannical religion isn't it. If these moms... Nope, that tyrannical religion isn't it. And if you guys are wondering why we talk about Islam and why these things are being said, listen to what this guy says in the beginning of this reel, okay? There's some other things I don't agree with, but the beginning of this reel is very real. The beginning of the reel is very real. Check this out. In Iran, when they're raised as children in first grade, they start saying death to America. And they force them to do that. Watch this. The kids don't want to say that. The parents don't agree with it. Nobody agrees with it. But they're forced to do it in the schools by the government. Listen to what he says.
I'm honestly sick and tired of non-Iranian Muslims calling Iranians Zionists because we simply want our freedom back from a tyrant regime. Let me tell you something from experience. From first grade in our schools, we were forced to chant death to America and death to Israel. At the same time, every week you would see school principals and government officials on TV proudly announcing that they had sent money and weapons to Hamas and their other militia groups outside of Iran, like it was a great achievement and we should celebrate. Meanwhile, life in Iran just kept getting worse. We were harassed, watched, controlled, living under the shadow of a regime that always had resources for powers abroad, but never for its own people. Our revolution is not America's revolution. Our revolution is not Israel's revolution. Yes, of course, there may be benefits for the US or Israel if the regime is gone, but that doesn't make it their movement.
Okay, guys, so I wanted you to hear that part. It's very important that you hear that. And that's what it is. Real eyes, realize, real lies. I love. What do you, this person, Mr. Ratchet, well, your name explains a lot, says, what do you for a real job ass? Oh, yeah, this doesn't even make sense. Let me put it on the screen so people can see it. Let me put it on. What do you for a real job ass? What do I do? I make fun of you, bro. How about that? No, my real job, I operate a couple businesses that are not related to what I'm doing right now. But be happy to get paid. Love to get paid. I had a lot of people say that Israel pays me or that I'm paid by Israel. I'm not paid by anybody. I wouldn't mind getting money, but I'm not paid. I don't mind money. I'm not allergic to money. It would be great to get paid for what I enjoy doing, but I don't get paid. So it is what it is. Anyway, let's keep going. And we saw that. Let's go to the White House press briefing. Let's watch this, see what the hell's going on.
Good afternoon, Jackie. Thank you for that. Thanks for coming in on a snow day for the rest of the government in the country. And as much of the country feels the impacts of that winter storm, President Trump continues to monitor the situation closely, and he has remained in constant contact with FEMA and emergency responders. President Trump also quickly approved 12 federal emergency disaster declarations within 24 hours for the states of Arkansas, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia, enabling these states to access critical federal resources to supplement their response efforts if needed. These declarations will help state-led efforts of turning power back on, clearing roads for emergency services, and keeping communities safe. The White House will continue to correspond directly with governors and local officials in the coming days, especially in those states that were harshly impacted by this storm. I would also like to address the chaotic scenes in Minnesota over the weekend. Nobody in the White House, including President Trump, wants to see people getting hurt or killed in America's streets. This includes Renee Good.
Nobody wants to see that, especially, people on the right. We don't want to see that. We would rather you let ICE do what they're supposed to do and get rid of illegal immigrants that are committing these crimes. They're criminals. They're illegal aliens. They're committing crimes. Some cases, dangerous crimes. Sometimes, I'm not going to say the words on the thing because we just got back on YouTube, but not cool. Rather just let them do their jobs. You guys let them do it under Obama. Why can't you let them do it under Trump? Obama did the same thing, exact same way. Everything was exact same. Didn't care. Now Trump does it. You lose your mind. Pull your hair out. Go crazy. End up getting yourself. You're getting in in front of ICE. You're trying to stop ICE. What are you doing? It makes no sense. Nobody wants to see these people hurt. You know what I mean? As much as we don't agree with some of the dumb shit that the liberals are doing right now, blocking ICE and doing all the stuff they're doing to ICE, we still don't want to see them hurt. You know what I mean? No, we don't. We'd rather get out of their way. Let them do their jobs. Don't you have a job? Don't you have something you're supposed to be doing? Renee Good had kids. She couldn't take care of them to the point where she had a judge, Renee Good, literally had a judge that gave full custody to the father of the children because the judge saw Renee Good as being so unfit as a mother that he could not even give her any percentage of custody of her children. So he gave custody, the judge gave custody to the father of Renee Good's children. That's how out of control these people are. So this is still we don't want to see them hurt. But dude, get out of the way. Let ICE do their jobs.
Alex Preddy, the brave men and women of federal law enforcement, and the many Americans who have been victimized at the hands of illegal alien criminals. Saturday's shooting remains under active investigation by Homeland Security Investigations and the FBI. The Customs and Border Protection is also conducting their own internal review. As President Trump said yesterday, the administration is reviewing everything with respect to the shooting, and we will.
Yeah, they're reviewing it. And Nurse asks, have you been watching the stuff about Signal? No, I heard about the person that's involved with the Signal, the person that is a liberal in the same state that this is all going down. And I think she's the lieutenant governor of Minnesota. And apparently is the person that's also an admin of the Signal chat, which is the place where these people are doing all these horrible things with ICE and basically getting in ICE's way and doxing them and all that stuff. That's all I know. But beyond that, I haven't heard.
We'll let that investigation play out. But let's be clear about the circumstances which led to that moment on Saturday. This tragedy occurred as a result of a deliberate and hostile resistance by Democrat leaders in Minnesota. For weeks, Governor Walz and the Mayor Jacob Fry and other elected Democrats were spreading lies about federal law enforcement officers who are risking their lives daily to remove the worst criminal illegal aliens from our streets: murderers, rapists, pedophiles, human traffickers, and gang members. Governor Walz and Mayor Frey have shamefully blocked local and state police from cooperating with ICE, actively inhibiting efforts to arrest violent criminals. They have also used their platforms to encourage left-wing agitators to stalk, record, confront, and obstruct federal officers who are just trying to lawfully perform their duties, which has created dangerous situations threatening both these officers and the general public and Minnesotans alike. This is precisely what unfolded in Minneapolis on Saturday morning. Obstructing federal law enforcement and inciting violence against officers is wrong and illegal. This used to be a universally accepted position in the United States. Amid the hysteria, we must remember how we got here to this moment today and what this Democrat opposition is about. Former President Joe Biden and the Democrats opened America's borders for 4 years, inviting tens of millions of illegal aliens from all over the world to flood into our country. Among them, violent criminals who terrorized American communities and have inflicted devastating, permanent pain and harm on law-abiding Americans and their families. Yet we never saw outrage from Democrats or their allies in the liberal media over these horrifying crimes against U.S. citizens. The pain of American angel families was ignored and dismissed.
Someone here says dissolve the Democratic Party. I think that they're dissolving the party themselves. They're doing it to themselves. Think about it, guys. Ever since the last, let's just say, couple of years, we haven't had any solid plans, any policies, any ideas, anything solid from the Democratic Party. Everything's been anti-Trump only. That's why they lost this election. This last election that we had, they shouldn't have lost. They could have beat Trump, actually, pretty easily. But they couldn't think of any plans or policies that would help American people. Think about that. Can you think of one policy from the Democrats right now, off the top of your head? You can't. The only, it seems like a policy is go against Trump no matter what he does, even if he's down for humanity. Trump stands up for Iranian people in Iran that have been asking for their freedom for 47 years, and the left is against them, and now against them. And the left is teaming up with the government of Iran. It's so crazy. Unbelievable. It is what it is. I mean, again, they're doing it to themselves. They're ruining themselves.
Because it undermined the Democrat narrative. Innocent Americans like Jocelyn Nungray, Laken Riley, and Rachel Morin are just a few of the many victims savagely murdered by illegal aliens.
Random, what up, bro? Dude, he says Random even has drains that are frozen. Holy cow, bro. Nelson Ware, guys, if I should go on subscriber only mode, let me know. I'm down.
Criminals. Earlier this month, an illegal alien from Mexico with a long criminal history who came into our country under Joe Biden's administration threw a baseball-sized stone at a school bus carrying children in New Jersey and fractured the skull of an 8-year-old innocent child.
Wow, bro, they're getting out of control. These people are out of control, dude. Lowest approval ratings as a party since approval ratings we started for the Democrats. Literally, exactly. They have the lowest approval. It's absolutely insane. There is no cabinet there. Yeah, dude, that's crazy, bro. Crazy.
President Trump promised accountability to these American families by securing the border, deporting every illegal alien who has committed crimes, especially and most importantly, violent crimes. Nearly 80 million Americans voted for him to deliver on that very promise, and he is. As the duly elected president, the president is fulfilling the will of the people by arresting and removing these threats from our country in cities from Los Angeles to New York and, yes, Minneapolis. Yet Democrat leaders in Minnesota with sanctuary city policies have actively defied federal immigration law and the will of the people. And as a result of that defiance, 2 Minnesotans have now tragically lost their lives on the streets of Tim Walz's state. It is President Trump's hope and wish and demand for the resistance and chaos to end today. That's why President Trump spoke with Governor Walz directly this morning, and he has outlined a clear and simple path to restoring law and order in Minnesota. Number 1, Governor Walz, Mayor Fry, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation. Number 2, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police. And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes. If Governor Walz and Mayor Fry implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions. Additionally, President Trump is calling on the United States Congress to immediately pass legislation ending sanctuary cities once and for all. American cities should be safe sanctuaries for law-abiding citizens only, not for dangerous illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws and do not belong here. We hope Governor Walz will do the right thing and continue to work with President Trump to keep the American people safe following their call this morning. Americans overwhelmingly want exactly what President Trump is delivering: strong borders and strict immigration enforcement against the worst illegal aliens, of which there are still hundreds of thousands to deport from the interior of our country. The most peaceful way to carry out this vital public safety mission is for Republicans and Democrats to do it together, and for state and local law enforcement to work together with federal law enforcement. We want to let cops be cops. You wouldn't know this continues to be a very popular policy position from the biased media coverage over the course of the last few days, but polling shows huge support for this exact thing President Trump is calling for. More than 80% of Americans favor deporting illegal aliens convicted of violent crimes. A country unable to deport criminals who enter it illegally is no country at all. The open borders agenda of Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and the Democrats was already on the ballot on November 5th, 2024, and it was resoundingly rejected. President Trump will never back down from his promise to deport violent criminal illegal aliens and make America safe again, and he welcomes all cooperation in that effort. With that, I will answer your questions. And Jordan Conradson, why don't you kick us off today? Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Caroline. Jordan Conradson from Gateway Pundit. I have a few questions. First, with respect to the shooting in Minneapolis, we're seeing massive outrage from mainstream media and the left, but I'm just wondering, where was that outrage when Ashley Babbitt, an Air Force veteran, was executed by Capitol Police Officer Michael Byrd, who she posed no threat to in the U.S. Capitol?
Well, you raised a very important point, which I also believed I just raised as well in those opening remarks, in that there has no doubt been selective outrage by the liberal biased media in picking and choosing victims and highlighting their stories. And as I've said, President Trump does not want any Americans to lose their lives in the streets of America and in American communities across the country.
None of us do. No, none of us want people to lose their lives for dumb shit like that, and they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be getting in the way of law enforcement. Don't do it. It makes no sense. Absolute retard shit.
Believes what happened on Saturday is a tragedy, but every life is equal to President Trump, and that's why the lives of Laken Riley and Jocelyn Nungray continue to matter to him and be an utmost priority to him to this very day. And it's unfortunate that we did not see the same type of sensationalist media coverage over the tragic deaths of those innocent American women and girls across the country as we are in the wake of this tragedy that took place on Saturday.
Yeah, they didn't care for the other people's. Dude, literally kids dead. Dude, I'm not going to say the words, but people got AR'd and all kinds of different words and unalived, and dude, they didn't care. Nobody cared. They didn't stand up when they talked about it. We all saw that last year. We all saw it. These guys don't care. But then it's selective outrage. That's what it is. Selective virtue signaling outrage.
Okay. Gabe. Sure, go ahead, Jordan.
I want to get your response to this.
This person in Instagram, Bedod, says, we need this nice ice in Germany too. Yeah, you do. You need it all over Europe at some point, bro. You definitely need it in UK and France and you need it in Germany. You need ICE, bro. You guys should ask Trump to send ICE over there, bro. But no, we need it here first. You know, America first, and then we'll get there too, bro.
The Arizona Attorney General, just days before this shooting in Minneapolis, she seemingly encouraged rioters to go out and shoot and kill ICE agents. And I'll quote her here. She said, "If you reasonably believe your life is in danger and you're in the house or in your car or on your property, you can defend yourself with lethal force." And she said that you can't tell if ICE agents are law enforcement or imposters, and it becomes an issue of whether you reasonably believed they were law enforcement. Do you have a response to that, and does the White House believe that she should be held accountable for these remarks?
Such dangerous rhetoric, as I pointed out, is exactly what has brought us to this position today.
Exactly. Anna Kemp in Instagram just said these protesters think they're above the law. These protesters think they are the law now. They think they're the ones that are holding together the United States of America. They think without them, our country has fallen apart. Our country's, what do they say? Trump is a threat to democracy, right? Trump is Hitler, right? That's what they say, right? Yeah, they're vigilantes now.
Where you have elected Democrat officials across the country who are encouraging left-wing agitators and crazy people to go out and unlawfully obstruct lawful immigration enforcement. Again, these brave men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and the federal enforcement are just trying to do their jobs to enforce our nation's immigration laws and to go after the worst of the worst in this country. I would encourage everyone in this room, and I would encourage the Arizona Attorney General to look at the video of an ICE agent in Minneapolis. He was approached by left-wing agitators who were honking their horns and were screaming slurs at him, and he rolled down his window and he said, "What are you doing? I am out here trying to catch a child predator, somebody who has convicted crimes against an innocent child, and you are trying to obstruct me from doing my job." This rhetoric against ICE, comparing them to Nazi Gestapo, Donald Trump's police force, is despicable, it is shameful, and it is precisely what has led to the escalation of tensions in Minneapolis and in other places across the country. Gabe, go ahead.
Be looking to do her for justifying violence?
I would defer you to the Department of Justice on that.
Thank you, Caroline.
Gabe.
Regarding Minnesota, on Saturday, the Department of Home...
Yeah, Random brings up a good point. It's easy to encourage them because they have gotten away with it for a solid decade. Literally 10 years, they got away with it. Guys, remember, these guys were the police online, on social media, on all this mainstream media. Remember, if anyone like me would come up and say or represent, my side of the aisle, we would get shut down. And we saw them, they've been enabled for the last 10 to 20 years, in my opinion. And so they feel like this is their right. And I think that's what Random's talking about. But now they're getting paid.
Homeland Security.
Now they get paid to do this, bro. They literally are getting paid to go out there to be losers and idiots and act like retards standing in front of law enforcement.
Posted that Preddy looks like he wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. Stephen Miller on Saturday posted that, or called Preddy a would-be assassin. Why did administration officials jump to conclusions before an investigation had even been conducted?
Well, look, this has obviously been a very fluid and fast-moving situation throughout the weekend. As for President Trump, whom I speak for, he has said that he wants to let the investigation continue and let the facts lead in this case.
With regards to the deployment of Tom Homan to Minneapolis, should the deployment of Mr. Homan to Minneapolis be seen as a sign that the president is dissatisfied with how the officials on the ground had handled the incident?
No, Mr. Homan is doing an exceptional job, and he has been working with Secretary Noem and President Trump over the course of the last year. Secretary Noem still has the utmost confidence and trust of the President of the United States, and she's continuing to oversee the entire Department of Homeland Security and all of the immigration enforcement that's taking place across the whole entire country. Of course.
Yeah, Kanita in Instagram says they have no moral compass and are being bought. Yeah, that's right. Not only do they not have any moral compass, but the basically Trump exposed it. Trump recently with Iran exposed their moral compass. When it came down to Muslims and Hamas and terrorist groups, they were all over it. They want to support them. But when it came to innocent Iranian people getting hurt in Iran, let's just say hurt, we know all the other getting killed in Iran, they didn't care. They're nowhere to be found. All these people that were supposedly for humanity and were all about, the life is, the loss of life and, all this kind of stuff and all this humanity stuff, all of a sudden gone. More people got killed in Iran than in 4 days than all of Gaza. And where are they at? Nowhere. Trump exposed them. Trump and Iranians exposed them.
Of course, Secretary Noem is also in charge of FEMA, and we are in the wake of a brutal winter storm where hundreds of thousands of Americans have been impacted by that. So Borders-Czar Homan is in a unique position to drop everything and go to Minnesota to continue having these productive conversations with state and local officials. And I know that he's catching a plane in just a few hours to do just that at the request of the president. Jennifer.
On Saturday's shooting, has the president been briefed and have you been briefed on specific details of the shooting? How many shots were fired? How many guns discharged? And I mean, did the protesters?
David said it very well. It says Trump should say that breathing air is good for you. The Democrats will stop breathing air. That's exactly what our favorite Senator John Kennedy, that's what he said. He said that on the Senate floor. He said if Trump came out for breathing air to live, they would hold their breath. That's what he said. Senator John Kennedy. Look it up. Yep. 134 Fari says 23,000 people were killed in Iran. I think the number is 30 to 40,000. But we have also heard 50 to 60,000 because the Iranian government doesn't want people to know how many people that they've killed. Just like Hamas lied about all their numbers. They inflated them. They inflated the numbers that were actually killed on the Hamas side, Palestinians, and they actually said that they were innocent civilians, which we all know now that almost none of that was true.
Gun go off or only the officers' guns? Do you have any of those details?
Again, the investigation is continuing, Jennifer, and we will let the facts lead and we will let the facts play out. In this investigation, I do know that HSI and FBI are conducting interviews with those that were involved and the agents who were involved in this unfortunate tragedy on Saturday.
Are they keeping the president up to date on all those details?
The president is obviously very much on the ball with respect to this investigation. I think he's made that quite clear with the various statements that you've seen him put out and also the 4 points that the president has outlined as well to Governor Walz and to encourage him to cooperate with ICE and with the administration. Mary.
Thanks, Caroline. To follow on Gabe's question, Secretary Noem said Alex Preddy committed an act of domestic terrorism. Stephen Miller labeled Preddy a domestic terrorist. Does the president agree with them?
Look, as I've said, I have not heard the president characterize Mr. Preddy in that way. However, I have heard the president say he wants to let the facts in the investigation lead itself.
Was he alarmed to hear his top officials referring to him in that way, rushing to that judgment?
Danny, go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. On Stephen Miller's comments, will Stephen Miller be apologising to the family of Alex Preddy for calling him, quotes, an assassin who tried to murder federal agents, despite the fact that, as you say, this is still under investigation?
Look, again, this incident remains under investigation, and nobody here at the White House, including the President of the United States, wants to see Americans hurt or killed and losing their lives in American streets. And we mourn for the parents. As a mother myself, of course, I cannot imagine the loss of life, especially losing one's child. And that same empathy from the President goes for the parents of angel families, parents of victims of illegal alien crime across our country as well. And that's exactly why the President continues to be wholeheartedly committed to deporting the worst of the worst criminals from our country. Why don't we go to the back? Kelly.
Does the president believe that the killing, though, was a mistake? Has he expressed that at all?
Again, the president has said, we have to review it, and this investigation needs to continue, and he's letting the facts on the investigation lead itself.
Does he want the body camera footage to be released to the public? Now,
that's not something I've heard the president commit to, so I won't do that from the podium. Sure.
Caroline, how serious is the administration taking allegations that local and state officials in Minnesota are actively coordinating with demonstrators through encrypted or non-encrypted communications, as well as providing government resources to impede immigration enforcement operations?
I'm sorry, Carrie, could you repeat your question?
How serious is the administration taking allegations that local and state Minnesota officials are communicating with demonstrators to basically impede immigration officials?
Well, we've definitely seen active organization amongst these left-wing groups, Carrie, and it is something that I know the FBI and the Department of Justice are looking into. Again, it is illegal to unlawfully obstruct lawful immigration enforcement in this country, and these agitators are making it nearly impossible for ICE to do their jobs and for federal law enforcement to carry out the will of the American people to deport the worst of the worst. I would just encourage everyone to please imagine in this room, all of you come to the White House every day to report on the President of the United States and the administration. You come into this briefing room, you walk through the gates of the White House. Just imagine if there were left-wing agitators or agitators of any kind who were in your face, who were doxing you, who were harassing you, who were physically threatening you, who were biting off your fingers in the case of two Border Patrol agents we saw this past weekend in Minneapolis. That would
These people are animals, biting off people's fingers and doing all this crazy shit. They're doing illegal shit. Bro, you're in America. You want to do something, do it. Do it legally. We're a lawful country. We're not a third world country. You want to act like you live in a third world country? Well, it's all good. We'll help you out. We'll send you to a third world country and you can go act like it over there and it'll be justified. Don't do it here. We're not a third world country. And that's 99% of the reason why you have all of the whole rest of the world would rather live here than in their own third world countries. That's it. Don't act like this is a third world country because it's not. You want to act like it, again, you don't have to act. We'll send you there and you could go be in a third world country like the idiot that you are. Go. Go. What are you doing here? This is a lawful country. You want something? You want to do something? Do it lawfully. But you can't because you have no brains. So what do? You go crazy. You act like people that live in third world countries because you are a lazy bum. You don't want to do the actual work to go do actual create policies, go and push to your representatives or whatever the case is that you got to do. If you want to do it right. If you don't want to do it right, then you're going to deal with the law. And that's kind of stupid, especially in a country that's a lawful country. We're going to hold you accountable or worse. Don't do that. You put yourself in a situation that you don't need to do, that you don't need to be in. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Guys, please, if you want to go do dumb shit, do it in another country. If you want to do shit right, stay here and do it right. Glad to have you, but do it right.
Make it very difficult for you to show up and do your job here at the White House every single day. That's what these officers in Minneapolis are facing.
What up, Jonah Vex?
That's why the president
What up, Jonah?
Is calling on Governor Walz and Mayor Fry for these three very simple and common sense points of cooperation so that ICE and local law enforcement can work together. Again, we are just asking for police to be police. And if you ask any law enforcement agent or official, they want to be able to work with their federal counterparts at the state and local level and vice versa.
Caroline. Thanks a lot, Caroline. Two questions. One is looking forward. The role of Mr. Homan. Is he being sent by the president to diffuse the situation that exists right now on the ground? Is he the point person essentially for the White House in terms of trying to tamp down the tensions that exist right now in Minnesota?
Well, Mr. Homan is the point person for cooperating with state and local authorities and corresponding with them, again, to achieve this level of cooperation to subdue the chaos on the streets of Minneapolis. And I would just point out that Mr. Homan is someone who has been lauded for many, many decades for his experience working in law enforcement. In fact, this is a Washington Post headline from 9 years ago.
What's up, man? Good to have you.
2016, meet the man the White House has honored for deporting illegal immigrants. And I would remind everyone in this room that it was former President Barack Hussein Obama who awarded a medal to Mr. Homan. So
Barack Hussein Mahmoud Ahmad Mohammed Obama. He's the one that did the same thing. Actually, he did worse. And you guys loved it. Why? Because you guys, first of all, love Muslims. That's why you love Obama. You also love DEI. You love virtue signaling. You love dumb shit. You care more about people's skin color than if they're right or wrong, or if they're doing good or bad, or if they're better than someone else. That's why I said Kamala Harris could have easily won this presidency this election last year, or now 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. Kamala Harris could have won that. She could have beat Trump. She was the ultimate DEI pick for the left. But she could not, and the Democrats could not, think of any actual policies, any plans, anything to help Americans improve their lives. And so during that election, they had nothing to say. So they lost. They literally had nothing to say. They had no policies, nothing good to pitch to the American people. So they lost that election to Donald Trump. That's what happened. It's sad, but it's true. That's a problem. The whole, again, the election turned into them trying to bash Trump. And American people, we have brains. We have brains. We're not we're not a third world country. And it's just, you have to come up with policies. You have to come up with plans. You have to have ideas. You have to have a reason for us to vote for you. And you're not going to win if you don't. You could win if you're a good DEI candidate like Kamala Harris was. She's perfect DEI. They would have voted for her, but she was so bad that they didn't even vote for her. That's how bad she was. Yeah. Trump got rid of their money train. That's why they're mad. Good overcomes evil. Kamala is the worst of the worst. Cheating because I'd rather have Donald Trump 100%. 100%. Anna's right. We don't want America to be communist. Guys.
He's obviously very qualified. He has the full trust and faith of the president. He will continue to have these meetings in the hopes that ICE and local law enforcement can cooperate and work together to have successful immigration enforcement, as we've seen in almost every other state across the country.
And secondly, Caroline, can you talk a little bit about tomorrow's trip by the president to Iowa, what the purpose of that trip is, what the goals of that trip are?
Sure, yes. Tomorrow, President Trump will be traveling to Des Moines.
Somebody's telling me to stop the moderators from kicking people. Bro, if you're being dumb, if you're saying things that aren't right, if you're lying, if you're being an idiot, again, there's if you're being stupid, you're probably going to get kicked. That's on you, bro. Figure your shit out.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Learn how to communicate with people. Yeah, it's a free country, but learn how to communicate. Make it a productive conversation. I'd rather have a more productive conversation than you being an idiot in the chat. So if they're going to kick you, they're going to kick you, bro. That's your problem.
He will be making a local visit at a local business, and then he will be giving a speech on affordability and on the economy. And I know he very much looks forward to being there, to meeting with the great people of Iowa, but also lawmakers as well. Jake.
Caroline, a couple quick questions. First, does the president remain fully confident in Kristi Noem's ability to lead the DHS?
Yes.
And then just secondly, just on that Wall Street Journal reporting that we saw yesterday, the president said at some point that the immigration enforcement officers would leave Minneapolis. Did the Saturday killing of Alex Pretty expedite that withdrawal at all?
To your first question, the answer is yes. He still has confidence and trust in Secretary Noem. To the second question, I would point you back to what I said earlier. If Governor Walz and Mayor Frey implement these common sense cooperative measures, CBP will no longer be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement will peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions, to remove violent criminals from American neighborhoods across the country.
Did Walz ask the president to remove the immigration enforcement officers?
He asked the president to scale down, and the president reiterated what the president put out in his statement yesterday and what I'm sharing with all of you as well. I would just add on this level of cooperation a few statistics that I think are very important. 7 of the top 10 safest cities in the United States cooperate.
Mike Anderson brings up a good point. And it's true. That's how it is. That's how we keep track of each other. That's how we keep each other in check. That's what we do. That's how we grew up. These days, though it's different. People are softer. People are softer, and they don't allow that anymore. But men, that's how men are. Men, have a different level of respect for each other. We know that, hey, we can stop each other. Men can get physical. We do that. Men are physical animals. We are, or whatever you want to call it, but that's how we are. But Mike brings up a good point.
Cooperate with ICE. And we've seen historic turnaround in safety in cities that have chosen to cooperate with ICE, that are not just led by Republicans, but also look right here in Washington, D.C. We had a great level of cooperation with Mayor Bowser and the local government, and we have been able to remove thousands of illegal aliens from the District of Columbia, where you all live, so you can thank President Trump for that.
Yep.
The murder rate in Washington, D.C. has plummeted as a result. There were no riots. There were no protests. Nobody was tragically killed as a result of that level of cooperation between federal and local authorities. And again, that's all the president is asking for in Minnesota. It's totally common sense. Jared, go ahead.
Thank you. Caroline, in this process, you continue to describe the situation in Minneapolis as chaos. Was there any mistake made by Secretary Noem that led the president to send Mr. Homan there?
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. Did Secretary Noem make a mistake which led to...
She made any mistake that could lead the president to send Mr. Homan to Minneapolis?
No, as I already mentioned, Mr. Homan has been working alongside Secretary Noem and for the president over the course of the last year. And again, he's uniquely positioned to hop on a flight to Minnesota.
What does it say? Kyron says, ironic, you said idiot. I just got banned for saying what I wasn't justified. Very democratic or someone. I have a PhD and 2 degrees. Who cares if you have a PhD and 2 degrees? Who cares if you have 5 PhDs?
Minnesota today to continue
okay.
this correspondence with state and local authorities, and that's what he's going to be doing.
Thank you, Ace. Glad to have you, bud. Thanks for joining.
Caroline, is it the White House's position that Americans have the right to show up to these ICE operations and film, document, or protest the law enforcement actions?
All Americans have a First Amendment constitutional right, of course, but Americans do not have a constitutional right to impede and obstruct lawful immigration enforcement operations. That is actually a crime, and it's something that we've seen taking place in the streets of Minneapolis, which again is leading to these dangerous circumstances that these federal law enforcement officers have been forced to work within.
Back to the call with Governor Walz this morning, the president described it as respectful. He said we seem to be on a similar wavelength, but you had strong criticism for the governor and the Minneapolis mayor, Jacob Frey, just now. So could you...
Random makes a good point. He says that is normal for educated people to have a bunch of YouTube accounts. Oh, bro, I love how sometimes I just don't think of the obvious, but Random does, dude. I love how he does.
Explain the difference in tone between what the press.
Exactly, mister. I have PhDs and degrees and all this kind of stuff. But you have like 100 YouTube accounts because you keep getting banned. Is that what's going on? Because you just don't know how to control yourself?
President had said in his True Social post, and I think some of the criticisms that you just levied from the podium.
Fran, I think the criticisms that I laid out, I'm painting the picture for all of you in this room, are what led to the moment that we are in today, where Governor Walz and President Trump are having a conversation, a constructive and productive conversation to end the chaos and the lawlessness that has taken place in Governor Walz's state. Elena.
Thank you. I had a question.
Hans, good to have you, bro.
With
What's
Homan now
up?
going to Minnesota, is Gregory Bovino also going to remain in Minnesota overseeing these ICE operations?
Mr. Bovino is a wonderful man, and he's a great professional. He is going to very much continue to lead Customs and Border Patrol throughout and across the country. Mr. Homan will be the main point of contact on the ground in Minneapolis.
And to follow up, given what we've heard from several Trump administration officials, people like Stephen Miller, as people point out, calling him a domestic terrorist, Bovino saying that Preddy was out to massacre law enforcement, why not require ICE agents to wear body cameras to clear up some of the disputes that we are hearing from witnesses and video footage?
Very good point. Very good point. They delayed working and got indoctrinated. That's very true. That's very true. If you listen to, Charlie Kirk, and you understand that, you don't have to, you can open your eyes and know that the schools, higher education, is all about indoctrinating people into the leftist ideology. And so if you went and got yourself a PhD or especially multiple degrees, it's a very high chance that you have been indoctrinated, that you are not able to think on your own. Yeah, it's sad to see.
Versus what the administration has been saying?
Well, that's a policy question that I know the policy folks in the building are having with members on Capitol Hill, and I'll leave it to them and the president to make that decision.
And my final question is on, you were talking about the level of cooperation that the president talked about with Governor Walz. Will the administration commit to cooperating with local officials on this investigation into Alex Preddy?
The president spoke about this with Governor Walz and said he would have a discussion about it. He did not make a commitment, and so therefore I won't make that commitment here. I would just remind all of you in the media, because I've seen a lack of reporting on this fact, there are investigations into what took place on Saturday. The Homeland Security investigations and the FBI have teamed up for an investigation, and there's also an internal CBP investigation, an internal review of what is happening on the ground in Minnesota. The president supports those investigations, and as I've said repeatedly, he wants to see them move forward. Phil.
FBI Director Kash Patel said in a Sunday interview, quote, "You cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest." Does the president believe the Second Amendment rights remain in effect even when protesting?
The president supports the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding American citizens, absolutely. There has been no greater supporter or defender of the right to bear arms than President Donald J. Trump. So while Americans have a constitutional right to bear arms, Americans do not have a constitutional right to impede lawful immigration enforcement operations. And any gun owner knows that when you are carrying a weapon, when you are bearing arms and you are confronted by law enforcement, you are raising the assumption of risk and the risk of force being used against you. And again, that's unfortunately what took place on Saturday.
Will his mission continue to be focusing on illegal immigrants with a criminal history, or
Many of them to roam on their streets posted about federal law enforcement, the fraud rings that we let them play out.
Secondly, there's another round of Russia-Ukraine talks this weekend.
Past weekend, which didn't get a ton of coverage, but that was historic in nature, where the president's team has really brought two sides of this. We were in Davos, Switzerland, but I'm not tracking any.
Okay, so a lot of the questions were just repeating, going over and over and over and over the same things, just continuously. Here's something I just saw in Iran, in Tehran. Looks like they made this thing on one of their buildings in Iran that at first glance looks like an American flag, but It is, in fact, let me just take a closer peek at this. This isn't flat. It is it looks like, so it is at closer look, it reveals that it's the USS Abraham Lincoln. Yep. It's the USS Abraham Lincoln being destroyed with soldiers being killed. So that's what Iran is putting in Tehran. That's what they've posted on one of their buildings across a big, huge building. So anyway, guys, if you're not aware of what's going on, things in Iran are heated up. All of our warships are in the Middle East pointing towards Iran. And we have all kinds of allies that have already come and are that come to help and are in place. Nothing's happened yet, but we hit our 1 hour mark on Instagram. Okay, so let me just hit continue here. Okay, so all the things are in place right now in the Middle East, and tensions are high, and things could happen any moment. So just keep an eye out, guys. I want you guys to be aware of that. Of course, I'm sure a lot of you are aware if you're following me and stuff like that, but they're definitely threatening America. Yep, bow tie, that's correct. Yep, all. But anyway, guys, keep an eye out for that stuff. I'm going to keep you guys up to date on things, and I'm glad to be back with you. And I'm glad that we got out of our little timeout with YouTube, and we had this was a good stream. If you're not aware, you probably won't see. Right now, we currently have 500 people on, 465 to be exact, and 62,000 people viewed this live stream, which is a 1 hour long now. So we're back. Everything's good, and we'll keep it back. And again, appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you for everyone that's joined today, and thank you to all of you OGs. Love you guys so much. You guys are amazing, and my favorite part is talking to you guys in the chat. Thank you, everyone. See you soon.